Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared. My lovely wife Kara is at work, and today we are checking out the Spyderco Techno 2 in CTS XHP steel with a titanium frame lock, wire clip, and green backspacers. Let's get into this. This knife was donated to us by an anonymous person. You know who you are. Thank you so much for all your amazing gifts. Knives that people donate to the channel seriously help our channel so much. So much. I can't express that enough. Let's get into this knife. This knife is 6 inches long with a 2.5 inch blade. Let's do some size comparisons. Here is the Giant Mouse Ace Biblio. You can see the Giant Mouse Ace Biblio is way bigger. Here is the Benchmade Bug Out. Way bigger. Here is the Kaiser Fire Ant. Even the Fire Ant is bigger. Here is the Tashi Barucha T1500, I think. I think that's what it is. That's actually pretty, it's not, this feels a lot bigger than this knife. But, you see, they're not, I mean, I guess it is bigger, but not too far off. Here's the Kaiser Lieb. They're pretty close. And here is the Mini Sheepdog. So, if you know those knives, it's not a big knife, but it's big in strength and build quality. So where it falls short in length, it comes, it comes back with strength and build quality. So, like I said, this knife is a titanium frame lock knife with CTS XHP steel. It is a smaller knife. It's kind of like a little tank, if that makes sense. Let's get to the blade first. It does have a really cool sheep's foot style blade shape with a nice thick blade stock with perfect jimping. I do love this style of jimping. And I have not sharpened this, but I've sharpened lots of CTS XHP, and I've sharpened, a few from Spyderco. But it's, behind the edge thickness is 20 thousandths. So not real thin, but it's not real thick either. It doesn't have the best blade geometry, but that's not really what this knife is for. This knife is kind of, I kind of have mixed feelings. So I'll get into that during the bad, but I just want to say I do like this knife a lot. Let's get into the ergos. So it has the wire clip. The wire clip works fantastic in and out of the pocket. Wire clips are probably the best working clips. They don't look the best, but they work so great. Now, this is kind of a 3-finger knife for me. So, it's not going to be, a Benchmade Griptilian or anything like that. And with the ergos, I do feel the clip quite a bit. I can get 4 fingers if I take over this area right here with my finger. Then I can get 4 fingers. But, this isn't too bad either. Like, I've done a bunch of push cuts with this, and I've used the heck out of this thing. So, the CTS XHP is just strapped back. Sorry about my hands. But yeah, it came with a decent edge. Spyderco doesn't do the best bevels or anything like that, and I'll probably wind up profiling it eventually, but it doesn't need it right now. It's still really good. CTS XHP straps back really good, so you can keep it going for quite a while. Let's get into the action. So it is a titanium frame lock, no lock bar insert, and no over travel stop. So you want to be careful not to unspring it. but very smooth. It is on phosphor bronze. It's on phosphor bronze washers, which you can see right there. And deploying it, the thumb action works great. It comes out like with a smack. Slow rolling it, it's very smooth. The same consistent smoothness all the way open. Has a very cool click sound. Like, I mean, you can hear the lockup. The lockup's really good. I basically let it drop like this and I close it with my thumb, but you can let it drop and then give it one good smack. The middle finger flick you can do. It doesn't give you a lot of room, but you just use the meat of your middle finger and it works just fine. Left-handed, this thing works really good because you have so much access to the middle finger flick. So the action's great on this thing. And then unlocking it, you can see so much room to unlock it. I love that. So the hardware is awesome. I love nice big hardware like this. Big hardware, no T6s. I love seeing that. Even on the clip, nice big hardware. And then check out this stop pin. Nice big stop pin. I love seeing that. This thing's built like a tank. And that's the one thing I like about this. I forgot to say, you know, it was made in Taiwan. It's Spyderco's Taiwan factory. And this is the same designer that did the Slish Buoy and that did the Chef and the new Swayback. Very cool knife, nice and small and compact. I love the titanium. It's a stone-washed titanium. This is my favorite finish on titanium. This stone-washed finish, I love that. Really cool back spacers. Gives it a nice little pop of green. And I do like this knife a lot. But let's talk about the bad things. So, one thing, holding it in your hand, it is not comfortable with this clip. This clip in my hand.
So I was just mentioning that the wire clip is good. This is better.
That's a replacement clip for the wire clip. Yeah. That's crazy. I didn't even know they made it. It goes in and out.
I'm wearing jeans now. There's plenty of clearance for material. It has just the right spring tension to it, and it replaces any wire clip from Spyderco.
I gotta say, because Kara, let me just say this, Kara has zero complaints. Kara loves this thing. Like, this is Kara's boo. But for me, in my big hands, the clip right there, like, look, it just gets me right in my bone. Now, if I hold it back here, I don't have much of a grip because it's only 3 fingers, but I can use it still. You know, my pinky's swinging, I can still use it, but I still feel that clip just pushing right here into the bones right there. I can feel that. So it's not comfortable for me. Now, that's where it kind of defeats the purpose, in my opinion, because this is the way it's built, with the thickness behind the edge, the thickness of the blade stock, the construction, the build quality. This thing is rock solid. I mean, this thing is a tank. It's built very, very tough. But how can I use something very tough? Like, and I don't mind that it's small, but if it's uncomfortable in my hand, it's not really hard use. The only way a knife can be hard use to me is if when I hang on to it, it feels like I'm putting on a glove. Like, it's got to feel very comfortable. And if it doesn't, then I can't sit there and, you know, put a lot of pressure over time all day long. Now, I like the idea of it. I like the thought of a nice little tank knife, you know, a nice little hard use knife. The knife that can go through anything, and, you know, you can maybe do a little bit of prying. I'm not telling you to pry, but I'm just saying, you know, knives you can do that with. You can push through hard material. You know, you can pop straps and stuff like that. But if it's not comfortable, you know, what are you going to do? Next thing, I'm not really too happy about it not having an over travel stop. Now, don't get me wrong, I've never unsprung a lock because I'm always conscious if there is. Like, I put my finger there and stop it. Or I just know better, you know. I don't, like, you see how, like, it starts to drop. Once it gets to that point to where, see right there, I'm not pushed far enough. Now I am. Once it gets to that point, I don't push any farther. But it'd be nice to have an over travel stop so I don't even have to worry about it. Next thing is, just like Spyderco always does, you know, they're not the best choil people. You know, they don't even put choils. They expect you to just sharpen up the blade, which is not that big of a deal. But just know you are going to be sharpening up the blade. You know, it's not going to be like, you know, where it gives me an area to sharpen back. You know, and then here's one from Spyderco. Like, I like an area where I can sharpen back. But these guys, they make, or with this knife, you know, you got to sharpen up the blade. Not that big of a deal, but figured I'd mention it. But there's really not a lot of bad here. I like this knife a lot. I love that they didn't weight relieve it. It adds to the strength. I love the stone washed blade. It's got kind of a polished stone wash. I really like that finish. I love the finish on the titanium, the big hardware, the action, the build quality. It is perfectly centered. I like this knife a lot. It just, you know, in my hand, it's not the most comfortable. Now, that being said, I just wouldn't use it what it's basically intended for. You know, like Kara, she will, because she loves it. I would just use it as a basic EDC, you know, a secondary. Which, you know, maybe it's intended to be a hard use secondary. But I like it a lot. This is a badass knife. And if you're looking for a hard use, small knife, under 3 inches, that has incredible build quality, this might be right up your alley. And I'm sure you're not, I don't know. Okay, let me just say this. I said I'm sure. I didn't mean that. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to find an aftermarket clip if you don't like the wire clip. They might have them. I'm not sure on that. But this is an incredible knife. I do like it a lot. But it's just, man, when I hang on to it, I feel like I'm hanging on to, you know, it's painful. It's not enjoyable at all in my hand. But other than that, I like the knife. So, I mean, I don't know how much you can get from that. Like I said, I would just use it as a basic EDC. I wouldn't hard use it. I would save the hard use for a different knife. I love you guys. Peace.